All right, guys, we're going to go into a game that is from 1991. This is an American Civil War game called No Greater Glory. Um, I remember playing it as a small child. We're going to. I remember it being extremely difficult too. Um, Difficulty we will go with historical. And you start, this is kind of grand strategy in its earliest form. Um, you've got, let's see if I can remember this correctly. You've got loyalty, you've got party, so moderate or radical. You've got intelligence, so Judah P. Benjamin here is one of the smarter guys in the cabinet. So is Slidell, Mallory, Memminger. But then you've also got them from the four regions that make up the country. So Southeast, Southwest, kind of Mid Atlantic, and Old Northwest. And if you look through this, you've got two guys that are from, say, the Old Northwest. That is Bell up here and Breckenridge. But they are 3 and 4 on the intelligence scale. So you need to balance everything. And this whole game, if memory serves, is about balance. So what are our kind of most important departments? War, way up there. Treasury, way up there. Money and troops and supplies. Secretary of State's going to deal with foreign affairs. Don't think it's as important. And Attorney General is going to be quite important in the very beginning, but not as much so later. Also, let's see here. So Benjamin, our smartest guy, is Southwest. So is Slidell. So those are two guys we're definitely putting in. Memminger is Southeast. But then our other options, we've got Toombs, who would be from Georgia, if I remember correctly. All right, so P. Benjamin, I forget this gentleman's name. He's going to be my Secretary of War, and that bumps up his loyalty to us. Slidell is going to be my treasurer. Toombs, well, let's see here. Memminger, probably need and you also got to balance the moderates and radicals. So we've got 2 from the Southwest, 1 radical, 1 moderate. That's a decent start for what we're doing here. Let's see here. Then we can go Mallory. Now, Stephen Mallory, if memory serves, was Secretary of the Navy. We need one more. Let's go with Memminger. Let's make him the Attorney General. But now our problems come in because we haven't any of the border states that we need to still secede. We have no representatives from. So we need Mason or Hunter, Breckenridge, or Bell. All right, so Bell, you're Secretary of State. Hunter, what do we give up here for a 4? Well, we've got Mason. He's a radical. I'm going to put him as, let's say, Navy. All right, so let's see here. This gives us 1 and 1, 1 and 1, and 1 more moderate. So that's our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you've also got the key here. So ability, faction, moderate, radical, loyalty, 1 to 10. The office we're putting in and you've got different sections for USA and CSA. So Gulf, Tidewater, East Border, and West Border. Need to make sure everybody's at least happy. They don't have to be like crazy happy. I think this should get it done for us. Just make sure I don't want to change any of these. Yeah, I'll take... Wait, do I have... Yeah, I've got Memminger. Yeah, I think this is good. If memory serves, it should let you know if you've wildly unbalanced things. Okay, we seem to be good. Now the computer, I don't even think we called it AI when this game came out, makes its choices. Looks like your treasurer is Cameron. Crittenden is Secretary of State. Johnson is Navy. Wade is Army. And Wells is War, or Attorney General, excuse me, for Wade. Of course, Gideon Wells was Secretary of the Navy. Seward, Secretary of State. Stanton, Secretary of War. Chase, Secretary of the Treasury. So yeah, he picked a 2, a 4, a 5, a 4, and a 7 instead of his 8, 9, 7. Some of these higher intelligent people. All right, next up, agents report that open dissatisfaction is undermining the USA government in the Tidewater region. Same thing in the east border, west border, central. Okay. So central is Tennessee. Okay, let's see here. Attorney General C. Memminger urges you to seize the moment by precipitating uprisings in the border states. Okay, so civil affairs. Western border, we've got Missouri and Arkansas. Gulf Coast is Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. Tidewater, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida. Eastern border is Virginia, North Carolina, Central Kentucky, Tennessee. Kind of give you an idea there. So, Gulf Coast, 100% in the CSA. We've got civil rights and no subversion. So if you get the subversion wrong and overplay your hand on administrative or subversion, you risk losing the loyalty of the region. And these are the loyalties. So Gulf Coast, 1 for the U.S., 8 for the CSA. Tidewater, 1 and 9. Eastern border, so Virginia, North Carolina, Western Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware. 4 for the Union, 7 for the Confederacy. Central border, Kentucky and Tennessee, 4 and 8. Missouri and Arkansas, 5 and 9. Okay, so we're going to go start with the Tidewater, and we are civil rights, so we don't want to oppress anyone other than the slaves, and participate. Eastern border, we are encouraging. I want to go to participate. Central, we're going to participate. West border, we're going to participate. Northwest, we're going to encourage. I mean, we do have some loyalty in the old Northwest. Let's just encourage stuff. Mid-Atlantic, let's discourage. And New England, definitely discourage. Minister, we don't control any regions, so we can't. Right now, so this shows us jobs, loyalty. Jobs would be the generals and the cabinet that we just assigned. So we can make up for lacking cabinet positions with generals later on. So like Tidewater, we've given it 1 job. East border has 1 job. Gulf Coast has 2 jobs. Central, 1 job, 2 jobs for the Union. West border, 2 jobs for the Union. So we're going to need to put in some generals. Are you sure that you have finished? Yes. Okay. The Union's doing their civil affairs now. Looks like they're putting in Maybe some habeas corpus. All right. Serious disturbances have broken out against the USA in Charleston, South Carolina. That's good for us. North Carolina has announced that the state has seceded from the Union. In case you couldn't tell how old this game is, just listen to that lovely old school computer music. Norfolk and Virginia secedes. And no, you can't actually skip through this. Disturbances broke out in Washington, the Valley. Okay. Tennessee has seceded from the Union. The stars show secession, rebellion, or riot against the side. The USA has lost control of Paducah, which is going to facilitate Kentucky being neutral. Fort Smith is in Arkansas, and Arkansas has seceded. So we did get the main states that formed the Confederacy have all seceded. And the USA government has lost control of Springfield, Missouri. Really shouldn't be much else. No changes in loyalty. Actually, anywhere right now. Okay, we're going to continue. Attorney General C. Meminger reports that the government of Kentucky has proclaimed the state neutral. It refuses to accept forces from or recruitment by either side. All right, now we're going to set some economic policy. Okay. This bond interest causes inflation, if memory serves, and tax level, low taxes, debt at various percentages, prices. Here's your inflation. We need money. So let's bump it up. Let's see if we can bump it up to high. And I'm going to leave it at 5%. That gives us, should we go to crisis? No, we're going to go to high. I don't remember. I'm going to set it at moderate. Defeated in Congress. So we are forced. Okay, so Congress still has to approve our economic decisions. Okay. So low taxes, the base is 493, income of 3. Bonds, we got 24 as our income, and now we have a debt of 24 for total income of 27. The union setting to crisis and 8%. They're trying to blow it out, but they get 316 income from debt. They also have 1585 as their base, so their tax base is significantly higher. Secretary of War Judah Benjamin inquires whether recruitment should be conducted in Kentucky despite its protestations of neutrality. No, not yet. We're going to call for volunteers on this early 1861. Supply production. Okay, so we're going to have a total of 54 recruits. We'll work our way from call volunteers, mobilize militia, limited draft, and full conscription as the war continues. There is the option to recruit blacks, the slaves, into the force. So our treasury balance is going to be -3 by recruiting, calling volunteers. It's going to cost us the 27. Supply production, we can't produce any supplies, but I'm going to go ahead and do supply production at 40. Infrastructure, so this is rail. If I remember correctly, you always want to max out rail, especially as a CSA, because you need to move supplies and troops around. Okay. As far as Navy building, we're going to leave... Yeah, we're going to leave that for right now. I don't think I can even... Oh, we can't. We could build transport and river forts and coast forts. I'm going to do that. We're negative 52. Our army info. Population, 5,800,000 whites, 3,130,000 African Americans. Policy of volunteers. Our record is inauspicious, size 0. So this will be the initial bump for our armies. Navy info, we have 30 blockade runners and 6 raiders and nothing else. Let's set the policy. Secretary of War Judah Benjamin reports that violent opposition to military service in Grafton has precluded any CSA recruitment. So that's West Virginia. We ended up with 52 new troops and 42 supplies, 14 coastal forts, and 10 river forts. Investment and mobilization increased the economy by 5% and rail capacity by 22%. Secretary of War Judah Benjamin reports that violent opposition to military service in Charleston, South Carolina has precluded any USA recruitment there. Same in Norfolk. So did Virginia not secede? We'll save. Do I want to quit? No. Yeah, you can't quit at any point in time in this game. Okay. So now we are on strategic movement, and we can move troops and supply and coastal forts and river. So let's look at river. Actually, so supply, very, very important. And you need to balance that with the troops. So like we have 10 troops in the Tidewater, and the USA has 1. We have 6 supply, and they have 3. Gulf Coast, we have 14 troops and 12 supply. Western border, we have 6 supply and 6 troops. Central border, 6 troops, 4 supply. And eastern border, 14 supply, 16 troops. If your troops don't have supply, you lose the troops, which means that you wasted the money recruiting the troops. Okay. So, Gulf Coast, select. And then it breaks it down into the various regions. And you can toggle. And if you're just off by 2, it's not as bad. Tidewater. Let's go take a look at Tidewater. So Charleston is still in Union hands. So we're going to go Pensacola, move via... Okay, I cannot move naval. There is no river here. So we have to move to rail to Jacksonville. Select area. We're going to auto supply, and we're going to move... Oh, there are no supplies available. So we're going to send 2 troops. And... ready. All right, from Jacksonville, we're going to send the 2 troops to Savannah. Auto supply, ready. And then we're just going to check. All right, we've got 2 supply and 6 troops in Savannah. Atlanta, we are going to rail to Savannah to supply. Now, why are we doing this? We want to keep the supplies and the troops as equal as possible. So this gives us a grouping of 6 units. I think it's supposed to be roughly 6,000 troops in Savannah, 2,000 in Atlanta, 2,000 in Columbia. As far as supply goes, we've got 4 supply in Savannah and 2 in Columbia, 0 in Atlanta. So we're short 2 in Savannah and short 2 in Atlanta. But we're going to march into Charleston to take that. New region. Eastern border. All right. Greensboro, rail to Richmond. Auto supply. Ready. All right. Wilmington, rail. Auto supply to Richmond. Ready. And then, you just want to keep checking to make sure that you've got everything's correct. Charleston and Grafton, you would not be able to move those troops unless you took the valley. My plan, so Wilmington, we're going to rail to Richmond. Hold on. All right, we do have 2 extra supplies. Okay, so I'm going to move these guys, and there is no supply. Richmond now has 12 troops and 6 supply. I'm going to move from Richmond, rail to Northern Virginia without moving the supply. 1, 2. Okay, so what this does is put 6,000 troops in Northern Virginia with 4,000 supply. I would really love to get those supplies out of Grafton. That would really save us here. We have 6,000 supply in Richmond to feed 8,000 troops. 2,000 off is not the end of the world. Gulf Coast. Okay, one thing I do want to look at is coastal forts. So right now we've got Mobile, New Orleans. And we may not move these at all right now. So we've got 2 in Pensacola, 2 in Jacksonville, 2 in Savannah, 8 in Wilmington. That's all fine. Going back to the Gulf Coast, let's go Riverine. So we've got Riverine forts. We don't need them yet. Move via the river to, let's go Little Rock. And we're ready. All right. Jackson River to Corinth. And we're moving the Riverine. No supply. Ready. Decatur River to, let's go with Memphis. 2. Ready. And Corinth River to Memphis. Kind of making a redoubt here in Memphis. 6. Okay, that empties that out. Supplies. Happy for the moment. I'm going to need to move some of these troops, though. So, Shreveport, rail to Jackson. Ready. Jackson, rail. Actually, cancel. Jackson River to Corinth. Just so we can save as much of our rail as we can, as possible. Oh, sorry. We cannot move troops by river. Okay, we can move supply, though. Ready. And then we're going to go back into Jackson, rail to Corinth. And we're going to send the troops. So once again, we've now got 6 and 6. All right, Mobile. Yeah, they're not coming. They're not landing stuff immediately. I'm going to move to Jackson, the 2 troops and the 2 supply. In Decatur, we're going to rail up to Chattanooga. 2 supply and 2. Oh. Ready. And then Corinth, let's rail to Memphis. 6 troops and auto supply. Make sure that we haven't left any supplies out. A new region. Western border. Let's check this situation out. All right. Little Rock. Okay, so this entire region, with the exception of Springfield to St. Louis, which does have a rail connection, Fort Smith and Little Rock, you have to move manually. So we can't really do anything there. Central. If we wanted to move into Kentucky, I've got the troops, and they are supplied. But we don't want to. We want Kentucky to neutrality to be triggered by the Union forces. Okay. So I think this is good. We're gonna hit done, and end the phase. All right, now the computer's going to do the same thing for the Union. Let's wait for that. All right, moving up and reinforcing, moving up and reinforcing. Blowing through their rail. Okay. Would we like a summary or detailed report? I think summary is fine. All right. CSA forces totaling 12,000 in 6 areas lack supply. They paid a premium of 1,200,000, damaged the economy and alienated the people in 0 areas through requisitions while obtaining 12 extra supplies locally. So what that means is that when we only left 2 supplies short per region, they were able to make those supplies up, spend more money that we don't have, but they didn't damage the areas or cause loyalty loss. We did lose 2,000 troops out of 52,000 to disease and desertion. 0,000 went unsupplied. So we have 50,000 troops. We will save slot 2. We will not quit yet. Okay. Secretary of War Benjamin reports that most commanders warn that their forces will need more training before they can conduct offensive operations. So this is going to be the command. All right. So we already know we do want to move some forces. We want to move Savannah, move from to Charleston, select. We want to move troops, all. Generals. Okay. So let's see. How does, if I remember correctly, the number dictates, so like you couldn't put Forrest in command of an army larger than Albert Sidney Johnston, because he'll be upset. Johnson would then be upset. I'm trying to remember. Issue the order, and then yes. Okay, so we need, this is our first move. All generals. Let's go with we can't go with anybody too low. But we don't. Yeah, let's go historic. Let's go Beauregard. Let's also go Atlanta. Move from to Charleston. Select all. Issue the order. And we're going to put in command of that. Let's say Smith. Okay. Going to go to a new region. We're going to go to the eastern border. All right, so they're still not showing. Okay, so we can take the valley. All right, so Northern Virginia, or Richmond. We need Richmond. Move from to Norfolk. Select all. Issue orders. And that's, we're going to put Joseph. Northern Virginia. Move from to the valley. Select all. Issue order. Lee. Okay. New region. Central. So Memphis. Defend. And we're going to use Albert Sidney Johnston. Chattanooga, we're going to defend. And we're going to use Polk. And let's see here. All right, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we've used 7. I need to put Bragg into command of something. Western border. Fort Smith. Move from to Springfield. Select all. Issue order to Braxton Bragg. Okay. Little Rock, defend. All generals. Jackson. Okay, new region. Let's go Gulf Coast. New Orleans. Defend. Hood. New region. Tidewater. Columbia. Let's actually move the troops in Columbia to Charleston. Also select all. Issue order. And then we should just have the one general, Nathan Bedford Forrest. Sign. And new region and in phase. Yes. Okay. We are heading towards. Okay, they're doing their campaign thing now. The computer is. Like I said, this is. I love how overlapping and detailed and simple at the same time this is as a game. Oh, AI at work. So it was AI at the time. It's progresses very similarly to how the Civil War happened. And if you kind of think of pre-war ranks, you start to see, okay, well, they could concentrate more troops in Memphis. So the number one general would be Johnson, Albert Sidney. So that's why he was put in command there. Not to mention that they're from these regions. Of course, he was California. Let's see. Okay. So Hood has taken command in New Orleans. Continue. We are going to defend. So if you had invaded an area, you could devastate it. Or if you were withdrawing from an area, you knew you would never take it back, you could do that. Beauregard is moving from Savannah to Charleston. We're going to conquer. Forrest is also doing the same. Beauregard already commands. No. And E.K. Smith, continue. No. Beauregard is the higher ranking general. He needs to stay in command. Okay. Battle for Charleston, South Carolina. They don't have a commander. They don't have orders. We have Beauregard and orders to conquer. Now, Beauregard. Prestige is 3. Loyalty is 10. He's from the Gulf Coast. So increase loyalty from the Gulf Coast region. I don't think it actually has... Armies. Let's check this. Morale. We have 8. They have 2. Experience. They have 4. We have 0. But we have 12,000 troops to their 2,000, so this should be fairly easy. And there is no... Oh, experience. Okay. That may be the general's experience? I'm not actually sure. We won. There's no way of skipping that I know of. Prestige of Beauregard increased by 2. So now he's number 1. Okay, they're moving 8,000 troops into the valley. We move 6,000 there. And 26,000 moved to Washington. Johnson reports that his army can't move from Richmond to Norfolk. His reason is his army isn't ready. And Lee can't move to the valley. So our armies did not move. But, looky here, 8,000 rebel sympathizers in Norfolk have taken up arms against the USA. Battle in Norfolk. So the armies, they have 3 experience. We have 0, but we have 4 times as many troops. And we conquered Norfolk. Okay. The details, loss, We increased morale. We gained an experience point. They have 0 troops, so 0 morale. But they did gain an experience point. Okay. All right. Central. Continue. We're going to defend. Polk is going to defend. And they did not move forward. Okay. So the Union under McDowell has moved from St. Louis to Little Rock. All right. Bragg moved to Springfield. Jackson takes command in Little Rock. He is going to delay. 2,000 rebel militia have reported for duty, so we get extra troops. But it's still 12,000 against 4,000. We have 10 morale. He has 8. 2 experience for him. We have 2 Riverine. This is not going to go well for Jackson. Let's just see. Yep, we lost basically the militia. It's all right. It's only 12,000 troops. We've got 8,000 in Memphis. We're going to be fine. It's not an... He would have to move via river transport, and I don't think he can get past Memphis. Okay, he's moving from Cincinnati to Evansville. That's fine. That's just because there isn't a rail connection there. And you very rarely get things happening in the Mid-Atlantic or especially in New England. Okay. The retreat needs to go to Memphis of the 2,000 troops. And loyalty to the USA has changed by 0. Its military prospects are now regarded as auspicious. And we are still inauspicious. Secretary of State, Judah P. no. I don't remember what the J stands for. Bell reminds you that the British and French are totally dependent on imports of southern cotton. He maintains that the CSA can therefore coerce their support by withholding exports until they agree. I would disagree. Okay, so England, no ambassador. We get to choose some envoys. And this is going back. So once again, we want to balance them out. So we've got, we kind of need to put Breckinridge over something. And we also only have 2 from the Virginia area. So we're going to need Hunter to be something also. I'm going to put Hunter, no, and then we've kind of got it free to some extent. I'm going to put, let's choose. So that's going to be 1 radical, 1 moderate. Let's go ahead and put Mallory over England. France. Let's go with Hunter. And ambassador to the USA is going to be Breckinridge. Okay. England, set policy. So our goals are recognize. That makes sense. Means threaten, coerce, entice, or bribe. I believe enticing them is our best bet. I know it wasn't done historically, but I feel that is... And actually, maybe let's just get them to move 1 step up. Let's get them to covert supplying us with enticements. Okay. Next up, France. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to go there and there. And then policy for the U.S. There's conquest, reconstruction, reconciliation, and independence. We are going after independence. They're going after reconciliation. So in theory, you could switch this Confederate policies to reconciliation and the war ends right there. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, independence. We're sticking with that. All right. End phase. Leaders of the radical protests. Okay. Yes, I will revise them. So let's choose. Okay, so we've gotten too many moderates. We can go with Rhett or Yancey. Let me try Yancey. And this is where the balancing comes in. And here we go. The Western Border region protests a small number of appointments to their region. Yes. Okay, so we're going to choose the envoy again. We're going to put Breckinridge back in there. All right, Hunter. Basically, the two northern regions, so Bell. I don't think I can remove Hunter. Ooh. So France, peace. Mallory is the one that I need, that I can play with, basically. Okay. And I'm going to need a radical, which means that I've got these three guys here. Walker, Yancey, and Rhett. I'm going to go with Yancey and hope that I get the balance correct. Okay, Tidewater. Yes, I'm going to revise my choices. And this is kind of showing you how crap people get chosen. I've got to choose my worst guy. Because he's the only one left. It's the only way this whole thing works. Now I can start changing things up again. And take a small hit on some things. Like next time in the cabinet, maybe I move some things around, but I want early, especially we're going to end the phase. Worst guy in position for England. They're going uninvolved and they're threatening. So hopefully this works to our advantage. Because they're threatening. They're picking some pretty good guys. They're still sticking with reconciliation. England has changed its policy to covert aid and will now help us get around the blockade. I would like to see. So we're enticing, they're threatening. That's basically the result. Same with France. Peace Commissioner Breckinridge reports there is no basis for negotiation since the USA terms are reconciliation. Okay. Triannual report. Politics. Moderates. We began with 6, end with 6. Radicals 9 and 9. Overall 9 and 8. So it did slip 1. The Union, it did increase by 1. Economy. Income was 27. Spending was 88. So inflation was 1%. The Union income was 325 and spending was 237. Military, the areas for the U.S. went from 31 to 19. Ours went from 12 to 24. Troops, we can't see theirs, but we have 58,000 troops. And that's because of the militias that took over Norfolk. England and France are now offering covert aid. I will save once more. I will not quit yet. No scandal concerning any of your cabinet members seems to be brewing at present. Oh, yeah. I forgot about this part. You can set up your cabinet perfectly balanced, but if there becomes a scandal, all of a sudden you've got to change things. Do I want to review the cabinet anyway? Yes, I do. Because I want to get Rhett out of running England. I really don't want him running, well, anything. Except for maybe the Peace Commission. Him and Breckinridge can handle that. So I need one more radical in a position. And I think, unfortunately, I'm kind of looking at this as though perhaps Walker can take the Navy, and then I can give England to Mallory. Does that make sense? Because the other thing is you can't replace an ambassador until the diplomacy side of things. So, let's try this. Eastern border protest, the small number of appointments. So you're going to take a hit. And probably, honestly, it's best. We're going to leave it the same. Gideon Wells is now Secretary of War. Okay. Until there's a scandal. Okay, agents report that open dissatisfaction is undermining the USA government in the West Border region. Undermining the CSA government in the East Border region. Okay, so Eastern Border. And this is going to come from West Virginia. So we're going to impose censorship. We're going to discourage activity. Central. We're going to discourage. We're basically playing it as silently as possible. Discouraging. Northwest. We're going to discourage again. Gulf Coast. I don't think we can't subvert. We've got civil rights, Tidewater. Civil rights, East. Okay, so Central, we are now going to administer civil rights. West Border, we're going to administer civil rights. East Border, honestly, censorship, maybe. Yeah. Complete. Yes, we are finished. Let's check out what the Union does. They're suspending habeas corpuses all over the place. Okay, let's see where we end up here. No changes. Okay, Grafton. And against the USA in the Valley. Okay, so we both had, even though we're discouraging against the USA in St. Louis, but our loyalty did decrease by 1. So we got to watch that. Northwest, the Union's loyalty decreased. There's 1 point in the Northwest. The leaders of the Confederate Congress are united in their desire to relocate the seat of government to a city with the stature and facilities to be capital of a great nation. Do you agree to make the arrangements? Yes. There's really only, historically speaking, there's only one place. Richmond. Richmond had most of the industrial capacity of the Confederacy. It had most of the civil service capacity of the Confederacy. Warns that inflation may cause serious problems if spending and income are not brought into closer balance. Yes, we will take a look. We're going to keep shooting for moderate, and we're going to put up to 8%. I need to generate some money. Let's see what we can enact. Defeated in Congress, but we do get the bonds. So our treasury balance is negative 7,000 still. But we did increase a little bit. We got a little bit more balanced. Okay, naval building. Let's see here. CSA, new, European, 42. We got 42 something from Europe. Blockade runners. We got 42 blockade runners from Europe. Well, how does that help us? Blockade report. 52 total blockade runners, 2 were intercepted, 70 surviving, which means 22 supplies got through, which means we don't need to make 22 supplies at least. Cruisers, 6 total, 2 lost. The English did not help. U.S. frigates lost 4. Economic losses, they lost 5 shipping and 1 production. Okay. Inquires whether recruitment should be conducted in Kentucky. No. Okay, we're going to continue to call for volunteers, which should give us another 54,000 recruits, bringing our total army to 112,000. We have 22 supplies. Okay. We can fortunately make supply production up to 122%. As far as the infrastructure goes, we're going to max that out every time because I'm going to need to use the rail. Build capacity. Blockade. Runners are really where we need to utilize. We're going to build more coastal forts and more river forts. We're spending the money. Hopefully things start to go our way and we can handle that. Yeah, we have 24 coastal forts and 8 riverine forts. Definitely increasing that quickly. Set policy. All right. Okay, we got 44,000 new troops, so we have 102,000 troops in the field. Let's see here. Runners increased by 4. Investment mobilization increased the economy by 5%. We're going to spend our way out of debt. Isn't that the modern solution? Okay, save. I think we're on save 4. We're not quitting yet. Strategic movement. And I really find, as long as you can balance the political side of things, strategic movement is 99% of this game. Because and granted, we're seeing the fog of war here, but we have 42,000 troops in the eastern border. They have 26,000. If they bring everything down here, they can outnumber us, but they got to bring everything. Okay, so we're going to... Basically, I'm going to start with supplies. Pensacola, you've got 4 supplies and no troops. So we're moving all of those to Jax. Jacksonville, you've got 6 supply and no troops. Moving all those to Savannah. You want to make sure that your supplies are where your troops are before anything else. So Savannah, then we're going to move to Charleston. We do get 2,000 troops, but I want to move all the supplies too. Atlanta. So basically what I'm going to do is move Tidewater into the East Coast and what's the next region over? The Gulf Coast into Tennessee and somewhat into Arkansas. That's kind of the plan. So Atlanta to Charleston. Send all. Yep. Columbia has no troops. Still generated 6 supply. We're going to need those. All right. Charleston, South Carolina, rail to Wilmington. All. And all does include the troops. 18,000 troops. Okay, so that's everything out of Tidewater. We still have, we're down to 100 rail. So, let's see here. We've got plenty of supply in West Virginia. Greensboro. We're going to rail to Richmond. All. Okay. Richmond, 18 supply, 16 troops. Wilmington, 22 troops, 34 supply. Norfolk, 8. Okay, so Wilmington, rail to Norfolk. We're going to move 2 supply. Northern Virginia has 8 troops. All right, Richmond, rail up to Northern Virginia, please. And this is really why increasing your rail capacity is so important. We're already down to 80. And we've got 22,000 troops in Wilmington. I'm not sure we can move them out of Wilmington. We may have to march them from Wilmington to Richmond or Norfolk. And then into Northern Virginia. Like this, it could be a slow process. So we're going to go to the Gulf Coast. And, you know, we've got 8, 10, 12, 14, 16,000 troops down here. And really, I'm going to kind of have to concentrate these guys. Actually, I can move supplies by river. So make sure you're doing that. We're going to move New Orleans to Jackson. Shreveport, I don't think we can move. Oh, we can move to Jackson. So let's do that. And don't move your supplies. Okay. Mobile, rail to Jackson. And we are going to have to take the supplies in this case. Decatur, rail the troops to, let's say, Memphis. Ready. All right. Now we're going to go river transport, and we're going to focus on supplies. So New Orleans, river to Jackson. Shreveport, river to Jackson. Corinth, river to Memphis. It won't let us do it because they have Little Rock. So now we've got to dip back into our rail capacity. So let's double check here. They have 16,000 troops in Memphis. 6 supply. We need to move 10. So we need to move cancel. Jackson, we've got those 10 supply. Decatur, river to Memphis. Let's see, how does that get us? Troops. Okay, now I only need 6. So, Jackson, I'm railing to Corinth, 2 supply. Corinth, I'm railing to Memphis, 6 supply. And now, our troops and supplies match. 16,000 troops in Memphis, 16,000 supply. Jackson, 14,000 troops, 22,000 supply. Chattanooga, 6,000, 6,000. That's the name of the game. Logistics. Okay, Western Border. We've got 6,000 troops in Springfield, 0 in Fort Smith. We've got 6,000 supply in Springfield. I don't know what we can really do. Springfield. They do have 3 experience, so that's good. We may be able to try and take on. We're definitely taking Little Rock back. That shouldn't be too hard. Okay, now we've got 50 rail. Now we can see what we're going to do. From Wilmington, let's rail to Richmond. Yeah. So we're going to move to Richmond. All. Not enough. Let's move the troops and supply. Ready. Okay, so that leaves us with 6 rail. That's it. But we've moved almost everything up. Wilmington, what I am going to do is move those extra supplies to Richmond. And the reason we're doing that is so we don't have to do it next turn. We've got those extra 6 supply that'll carry over into the next turn. But we've also got 38,000 troops in Richmond. It's by far our largest army. Beauregard gets to command that because he took over Charleston, South Carolina. And we're going to converge on Northern Virginia. You can also see why supply becomes really strained for the Confederacy as you move north. As a lot of it is being produced in the Tidewater and the Gulf. If you have to move it all by rail, you don't have the rail. You can't supply a large army in Northern Virginia. Richmond is a stretch. You almost need to withdraw into North Carolina to really have a strong supply base. All right. Let's move around here. I think we've checked everything. We're out of movement points. Yes, we're ending the phase. All right. Now they're moving up and using their rail. The AI is pretty good. I don't remember how they do as the CSA. They're pretty good as the USA about not losing a ton of troops to supply. They still will lose troops, just like we will. There will be times where we just can't get supplies to where we need them to be. Taking Little Rock, maintaining the Mississippi is not just a goal, it's a necessity for the Confederacy in this game. The eastern border is it doesn't matter. Other than you move your capital there and it's got a lot of troops and supply. We're going to go for summary. I don't need a detailed report of every spot. We lost 14,000 out of 102 to disease and desertion. 0 went unsupplied. So we did our job on supply. There's only so much you can do about disease. Larger forces are going to take more disease. Most commanders warned that their forces will need more training before they can conduct offensive operations once again. Eastern border. That's where we're going. Richmond. Move to Northern Virginia. We're going to go all. Issue the order. And the generals, Beauregard is in charge. Yes. And so they remain in the position that they were from the previous turn. Gulf Coast. I think Jackson. Yeah, Jackson's going to be our biggest, next biggest army, and then Memphis. So we're going to go Little Rock. All. Issue the order. So this should be our number 2 general, which is A.S. Johnson. Okay. New region. Central. Memphis. Move from. We're taking Little Rock back. I'm moving 24,000 of our troops. Joseph Johnston really should be in command here. I can make the argument for Polk. New region. Eastern border. I have a bad feeling with 44,000 troops in Washington and 8,000 in Northern Virginia, he's going to see that as, the AI is going to see that as an opportunity. So, Norfolk, move from to Northern Virginia. All. And our troops will definitely move. That's going to be Johnson. Okay. Generals. Let's see here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's get these. West border. Springfield. I would be able to. I'm going to move from Springfield to Fort Smith with our troops because we can actually supply them. 6, yeah, Bragg. So I've kind of relegated Bragg to Fort Smith. Generals. Hood. I'm going to. All right. Revoke his orders. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I think we're good. New region. I think that's all we want to do in phase. Yes. Okay, here we go. Joseph Johnston protested he deserves a bigger command than the Northern Virginia command. Will I reconsider? Yes. Okay. So, Johnson commanding at number 3, commanding 8,000 troops. He wants Polk's 12,000. So we're going to reverse those. We're heading to Central Memphis. And we're going to have to revoke Polk. Move from to Little Rock. All, issue the order to Joseph E. Assign. There we go. All right, new region. East border. We still need to move Norfolk. Move from to Northern Virginia. All, issuing order to Polk. And actually, really, Grafton. Move to Charleston. 2,000 troops. Next up, E.K. Smith. Okay. Now that does it. Let's see. Yep. Everybody's happy. We did a good job. We did a good thing. All right. The AI is once again at work, planning its grand strategy of crushing us, attacking, reinforcing. I think they're mid 1861. I think there's something that pushes the AI to march on Northern Virginia. I just think I remember that. Okay, Halleck is moving his army from Connecticut to Pensacola. So here's something you've got to be aware of. He's just invaded Pensacola, and we have no troops there. Continue. Yeah, we had nothing, no opposing force. So the Union has Pensacola. All right. It's only 6,000 troops, so we can fairly easily counteract that. All right, he's moving 8,000 to Grafton. Can't move from Cincinnati to Grafton. Okay. And then, yes. And no. And continue. So this should result in about... okay. So the Union has taken Kentucky. And Kentucky has seceded from the Union. This is what we want. I'm not really sure it affects us that much. Decrease loyalty to the USA, increase support for the CSA in the Northwest, as well as the border states. Taking command of Little Rock. Okay, they're moving another 10,000 troops. And we are not advancing from our base into Little Rock. Okay. DC Buell. Yep. New England is not going to invade anything. Okay. Retreat from Pensacola to Jacksonville. That's the rail link. Okay. We lost a result lost a morale because the battles. We're totally dependent. He's still saying we can coerce. Emperor Napoleon III of France is very sympathetic to the Southern cause. That's good. Many aristocrats in England express great sympathy for the Southern cause. That is also good. Those things happened historically. We are going to set the policy, and we're gonna look for some recognition. And same thing here. We're going to continue to entice. More flies with honey and all. They're still threatening. Continuing covert aid. It's going to take a while. All right. So, politics overall. USA decreased to 6. CSA decreased to 7. Our economy. Spending went up. Inflation's now at 3%. We lost 2 regions. They gained 2 regions. We're up to 88,000 troops. Let's see. Rumors around Richmond suggest that Jay Bell has gained a reputation for incompetence as Secretary of State. So we need to get him out of there. All right. Jay Bell is Secretary of State. He's from that region where Breckinridge is from. I don't have anybody else that can take over. But I can do is move Mallory into Secretary of State. And Western Border, there's no one else I can put into that. I can't revise my choices. Open dissatisfaction is undermining the USA government in Tidewater and undermining us in the Central region. That's Kentucky. Okay, so Central, let's impose some censorship. We're going to subvert. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Eastern Border. I think we're good elsewhere. Tidewater. Subvert. Yeah. Sounds good. I am finished. Basically, I'm trying to be as nice to everyone as I possibly can. And hopefully that reaps some reward. Yep, serious disturbances broken out against the USA in Pensacola. That's to be expected. We did lose some morale in Tidewater. We gained some in East Border, though. And disturbances broken out against us in Louisville. I don't think we can maintain Louisville. I just don't. And you actually don't see that shift that it was talking about, really, the Northwest being more, okay, slave policy for the USA. In late 1861, they have begun de facto recognition. What is this going to do? So this changes loyalty from the U.S. Doesn't really affect loyalty towards us. So they are losing loyalty in the Gulf Coast, Tidewater, East Border, Central, and West Border. They lost, really, the West Border 2 is a big one. Central 1 is a big one. East Border 1 is a big one. They gain support in the Northwest Mid-Atlantic, and they already had 10 out of 10 in New England. The radical commitment to the administration has changed by 1 in reaction to the new slave policy. Inflation may cause serious problems if spending and income are not brought into closer balance. Yes, I want to continue to try and raise our tax rate to moderate. Defeated in Congress. So Treasury balance is now negative 55 million, I think it is. Yeah, our tax base, taxes are 3. Reports that the rise in prices from 3 to 5 is damaging the economy and eroding support for its government. That's going to happen. We did get 30 more blockade runners from Europe. Let's see how they did. 24 supplies, so not really a lateral movement here, but 100 are surviving. We lost all of our cruisers. Not going to build more. Reports of popular enthusiasm for the war effort is so great that recruitment levels will be exceptionally high. So we have 88,000 troops presently. We're expecting 118,000 new troops. We're going to need a lot of supply. So let's see here. That's going to be a total of 206,000. We can go up to 272,000 supply, but we're playing this kind of maneuvering game. Don't want to spend too much. We need to continue to increase the rail infrastructure because we have to. I'm going to stop really coastal forts, river forts. River forts I'm going to keep going. I really can't afford supply troops. Supplying troops. Supplying troops. That's what's going to win us this game. So I'm increasing infrastructure so we move as much stuff around as we possibly can. Supply production only where it needs to be to meet the demands of the recruits. I might go one more. What is that? Yeah, that's 1 million, 1,000, whatever it is. Treasury balance is at negative 195. I'm not spending anything on the Navy. That's what we're having to do. Okay, so new troops 110. So we got 198,000 troops. We got 242,000 supply. The economy increased by 6%. Rail capacity increased by 64. Violent opposition to military service in Pensacola has precluded any USA recruitment there. That's good for us. I think we can take Pensacola back. Of course, I thought we could take Little Rock back too. Strategic. Okay, so we're going to start. We really should start here in the Gulf Coast region. We've got troops and supplies. We really don't need to move as much as you think. New Orleans, we're going to river our supplies to Jackson. Got 8,000 troops. Let's... All right, we're going to move everything but the 8. Good. Shreveport, river to Jackson. Everything but 4. Decatur, river. Okay. Chattanooga has 10,000 troops, and we need 2 supply. Move from Decatur to Chattanooga. We still have extra, so I'm going to move Decatur, river to Memphis. The other 6 supply. And the Decatur rail to Memphis. 4,000 troops. Mobile. We have 6,000 troops. I'm going to leave it as is. Corinth. I'm going to rail the 2,000 troops to Jackson. And I don't need the supply. Shreveport, I think we can do the same. Yes. Because I can move the supplies. So 30,000 supplies, 22,000 troops. Memphis has 18. So I do need more supplies to Memphis. Corinth has 10. I need 8. So I'm going to move Corinth rail to Memphis. Ready. All right, so 26,000 supplies in Memphis, 26,000 troops, 22,000 troops in Jackson, 30,000. All right, so we are good for now on the Gulf Coast. We're going to the Tidewater. Okay, so we get 6,000 troops in Mobile, 4,000 troops in Savannah. I'm going to move the Atlanta forces. And of course, we have to move all the supplies via rail over here. I'm going to leave the troops there. Columbia. Now we're going supply. Savannah is very good. Charleston. Let's see. We've got 4,000 troops going to Wilmington. Here we go. And then Columbia. Rail to Greensboro. 6,000. And then Atlanta. Rail. I'm gonna see if we've got enough see what the eastern border looks like. Okay. 50,000 troops in Northern Virginia, 8,000 supply. So we need desperate movement here. All right, Wilmington, rail to Richmond. All but 8. And this is where the game really gets going. Because like here, we've got 6,000 troops. I'm actually going to move everything from Greensboro. Norfolk, on the other hand, we've got 6,000 supply and no troops. So I'm going to move the 6,000 supply to Richmond. Now, Richmond, rail, Northern Virginia. We need 42,000 supply. Ready. All right. Now let's see how that looks. 50,000 troops in Northern Virginia, 50,000 supply. 16,000 troops in Richmond, 16,000 supply. We still have 90 rail. I just want to double check our other regions before I commit to more movements. All right. So we've got 14,000 troops in Louisville. I'm probably moving the 10 from Charleston to Louisville. How are we looking on supply? I need 2 more supply in Louisville. I need to pull that from probably Atlanta. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go back. We're going to go to Atlanta, rail to Chattanooga. I'm going to go to... I'm going to move 4 supply. Why not? New region, Central. Chattanooga, rail to Memphis. And granted, we could do this. I'm actually going to move 4. By that part, we could go to Decatur and then to Memphis via river. Memphis, rail to Louisville. But I just don't want to. I'm going to move the 4. All right, so now we've got the 10,000 troops in Chattanooga. I'm moving those to Memphis. I need to move those to Memphis. The Charleston, the 10,000 troops going to Louisville. I think that makes those 2 moves make sense. All right. Let me look around at some other areas. Springfield, and granted, we can't really do anything on this area, but yeah, probably I'm going for Little Rock again. 26,000 in Memphis. I mean, I've got 48,000 troops. There's no way he's moving that much right now. 78 rail left. Wilmington, rail to Norfolk. Let's go with 4,000 troops. Richmond. I'm going to leave that as is. 50,000 is a good, very large force. Which really means that we can move some troops around here. Let's go Chattanooga, rail to Memphis. Yeah, we can move all of that. New region, Gulf Coast. I'm happy with that. All right. Supplies. Shreveport, River. Well, I don't need to worry about supplies in many areas. But Mobile to Jackson, all but 6,000 can go. Do it. And this is also how you begin to not utilize all the extras, all the extra spending. So Atlanta, I'm going to rail to Charleston. Ready. And then Charleston, I'm going to rail to Wilmington. I'm getting the supplies as far as I can each turn. Okay. Savannah can actually, yeah, we can rail from Jacksonville to Savannah. And then Savannah, rail to Charleston. And I'm just going to use the last 10, which is fine. Okay. I think that's all we can do. Done? Yes. Never leave that up to the AI. You will lose tens of thousands of troops every single turn to the AI. Screwing it up. But yeah, you've got to... Us taking Little Rock is going to be priority one. I'd rather lose West Tennessee than Little Rock, because that cuts off anything going north of Jackson. I also don't want to lose New Orleans. Him taking Pensacola really doesn't make a difference, but I'm still going to try and take it back. Committing a large force, probably can't really move that force around afterwards, but... and also, this late 1861 troop bump, I mean, we had almost 100,000 extra troops. One of the largest, and that push is going to be decreased going forward. So we're just going to have to worry more about supply in the coming turns as opposed to moving troops from the south into the border regions. Almost done. 32 rail left. 20 rail left. And the Union has plenty of rail, plenty of supply. Like, the AI does not have much to work. And now he's doing river moves. I would start with the river moves and finish. We're going to go with a summary report. I don't need the detail. How many did we lose? 8,000 in 2 areas lack supplies. Oh. Okay, we got 20,000 men lost to disease and desertion. Whew, that's a lot. Okay. Still need more training before offensive operations. I really need some offensive operations. Okay. East border. Northern Virginia. What's the army look like? Experience 4. And generals? All right, we're leaving that as is. Okay, new region. Gulf Coast. Nope, Memphis. I need to go Memphis. So central. All right, Memphis. Move from... Oh, he's got 30,000 troops in Paducah. But like I said, I'd rather have Little Rock than Memphis. So we're moving to Little Rock. We're going to go all, issuing the order. Number 2, General is A.S. Johnston. Okay. New region. Gulf Coast. Jackson. Move from. To Little Rock. All the troops. Issue the order. To number 3, Joseph E. Okay. All right. Now, let's go back to the east border. We've got... He may go for Northern Virginia. I think there is a push. So we're going to move the 14,000 from Richmond to Northern Virginia. All. Issue order. And this is going to be our 4th largest army. So Leonidas Polk takes command of that. He's never going to get to command an army. Central. Let's go Tidewater? Yeah, Savannah. Move from... Okay, he's showing 14,000 troops in Pensacola. I'm still going for it. All generals. R.E. Lee. New region. East. Charleston, West Virginia, move from to Louisville. All. Issue order. 6. Braxton Bragg. Okay. Check the western border. That's only 6,000. Okay. New region. Tidewater. Did I already do that? Yes, I need Mobile. Gulf Coast. Mobile. Move from. And the reason I'm doing this kind of largest to smallest is that's how the general should be assigned. So we did 6. Now we could do 7 is Kirby Smith. New region. West border. Fort Smith. Move from to Little Rock. All issue order. And that's going to be to Hood. I'm also going to go Springfield. I mean, if he's going to not put troops in St. Louis, I'm going to try and take St. Louis. Yeah, that's going to be Forest. New region. And then, you know, if you've got some extra stuff, New Orleans, defend, Jackson. If he attacks, great. We've got a general there. In the phase. Let's see what he does. He's got a lot of troops in Paducah. I don't know. I just don't know. All I know is I want Little Rock, and I don't want to lose any other regions right now. So I want to gain one and not lose one. The AI is at work attacking. All right. Gulf Coast orders. In New Orleans, we are going to defend. Halleck. Oh, so he's 8,000 troops. Jacksonville. Lee is moving. We're going to attack. And, okay, so it's just 8,000. The armies. Whoa, Halleck's got 22,000 troops. Oh, we lost 2,000. He lost 0. That's... Oh. Okay. Battle of Jacksonville continue. We don't have any troops there. So we have lost all of Florida. I'm glad I got the supplies out of there. Losing Florida is not horrible. Right, Grafton moving to Charleston, that's fine. Yeah, he's moving to Charleston. We're moving out of Charleston. Defend. Nope. Central. Okay, he is moving into Louisville and to Memphis. Okay, I think we're only... Yeah, we've got half the troops. Oh, we won! And inflicted 2,000 casualties. So we get to keep the 4,000 troops. He loses 2,000. That's awesome. Oh, surviving militia have disbanded, so we don't get to keep them. Never mind. All right, 6,000 militia have reported for duty in Louisville. Continue. All right, we've got... I don't even know. What does that... He's attacking with 54,000 troops. We have 26,000. And he wins. Kind of obviously. He loses 2,000 troops. We lost 8,000. But it's brag. All right. Come on. Can't move to Springfield. All right, we got 6. Can't move from Memphis. Can't move from Jackson. Our generals won't move. Okay. And this is how this game becomes frustrating, because it's realistic. Generals won't move. They think they're not ready. And to be fair, to some extent, they are correct. From Pensacola, we're going to go to Savannah. I might try and take Jacksonville back, so I'm going to concentrate some forces in Savannah. Retreat from... Okay, the 6,000 going back to Paducah. from Louisville to Chattanooga. We have no choice. We've got to defend that side now. And he's got a large army. From Little Rock, I need to get those troops out of there. We're going to retreat actually to Memphis. Yes. I know it's not much, but getting some troops into Memphis would be good. Okay, their military prospects are favorable. Ours are unfavorable. And +2, -2. Hunter has created a negative impression on the ambassador to France and England. And of course, he's still very sympathetic to the Southern cause, but we need to switch around our ambassadors. So choosing envoys. Right now, it's England is Rhett. I needed to put Bell in a position. And then Hunter, you're up here. You are, I'm going to go with this one. How does that, East border, yes. Breckenridge, I'm going to put Hunter in your place. And really, you could just flip these guys. And I may, and if. No. I'm not revising my choices. Oh. Uninvolved. Okay, so we are not doing well. Incompetent Secretary of War. Judah P. Benjamin. He is our smartest guy. I'm just going to, at this point, War, and put Benjamin in Treasury. No, I'm not revising. West border, Central. That's fine. Western border against us. Oh, it's 2. Minister, we're declaring martial law. Central, we're declaring martial law. East border, I think we actually have, yeah, we're going to continue censorship. Is that complete? Yes. Yeah, this campaign not going great for us. Hopefully as we continue to lose, which actually I don't think we're going to continue to lose. I think, yeah, Pensacola, Jacksonville, we're good there. They're getting a little support. East border, they've lost some support. We need to regain some support in the central region and the west border. Although we did get a little bit more support in the west border. Yeah, he's doing well. West Virginia has seceded from the CSA. Totally good. That happened historically, and we expected it to, and it is the area that would have had that. In view of the unfavorable military situation, Secretary of War Slidell suggests that you consider some degree of emancipation. Yes. If I can... It really... You can't do it. But we did. Yes, we need desperately... Defeated in Congress. Inflation's going up. We did get 14 more. We got 26 supplies through. Kind of speeding up through here as you've seen it. Try to get mobilized militia. It's going to increase. We're not going to do that. Okay. Make sure that I've got enough. Oh. So if I... Can't do that. Okay. All right, we have increased. No recruitment in Chattanooga. That's fine. 56,000 new troops. We ended up with more supplies than troops. Generally speaking, that's always going to be a good thing. You want that ratio. All right, strategic movement once again. All right, New Orleans. Rail some troops to Jackson. I'm going to keep I'm going to keep 6,000 troops there. Ready. Shreveport, I'm going to rail to Jackson. 2,000 troops. Mobile, we're going to leave. Decatur, I'm going to rail to Chattanooga. 380. Corinth, rail to Memphis. 380. All right. And then we're going to go to supply. All right. New Orleans, River, Jackson. All but 6. Shreveport, River, Jackson. All. Okay. Mobile. It's got to go River. Or Rail, I mean. I need to go Atlanta. And we're going to go with 4 supply. Decatur. Or Corinth. We're going to have to rail supplies to Memphis. Decatur is going to river supplies to Memphis. So if you notice, we got 44,000 troops there. We're still only at 32,000. Jackson, I can send 4. Jackson rail to Corinth. Corinth rail to Memphis. And we're going to have to rely on some other area. So Central. Yeah, we have no supplies in Chattanooga pretty much. And, well, actually, I'm going to river the 8 supplies we do have from Chattanooga to Decatur. Go back out to the Gulf Coast. Decatur, river to Memphis. The 8,000 supplies. So now Memphis is covered. Jackson is covered. That's 76,000 troops. All right. Tidewater. Atlanta. Rail troops to Savannah. Charleston. I'm going to rail troops to Savannah. All right. And then we're going to switch over to supply. Savannah rail to Atlanta. Yeah. I need 8,000 supply. And then Atlanta rails to Chattanooga. And this is how it goes. All right. And then Savannah rails to Charleston. All 2,000 supply. Charleston rails to Wilmington. All but 4. Columbia rails to Greensboro. Should be everything, yeah. New region, eastern border. Okay. Wilmington. All right, so we have 62,000 troops in Northern Virginia. 8 supply. So our main focus right now is getting the supplies up to them. All but 10. Ready. Greensboro rail to Richmond. All but 4. Norfolk. And then Richmond, rail to Northern Virginia. All but 8. Which actually works out perfectly. We have 22 rail left. Yeah. That's how this works. Okay. So 62,000 in Northern Virginia. I'm not really going to move anybody else up. He's not going to come at me with more than that. As far as a Tidewater, though, 14,000 in Savannah. I'm going to rail from Charleston to 4,000. And maybe move from Wilmington down to Charleston. Another 4,000. There we go. And Greensboro, rail to Wilmington, 2,000. Okay. That's pretty much all we can do. Let's see how this goes. At this point, I really need Little Rock back under our fold, and I need to go after Florida. I'm done reinforcing the eastern border. If he's not attacking, nothing much I can do. It's early 1862. He still hasn't made a push into Virginia. Huh. But yeah, if I can get Little Rock back, that's the strategic point. And really, one of the things that I should have done in that initial turn is move troops into Arkansas to hold Little Rock. We've got the river. We can move the supplies in and out. We can't move troops. And without Little Rock, it cuts off Memphis down to Jackson. So that was our initial mistake. I think if we can hold in Northern Virginia, if we can maybe retake Jax or Pensacola, and if we can retake Little Rock, we'll be in a really good position again. Another thing that we need to keep in mind going forward is it looks like his naval invasions are like 8,000 troops. That's something we should probably look at maintaining a force of 6,000 to 8,000 in each of those regions. It's going to be hard for us to recover the morale hits, but we'll see what we can do here. If we can get a couple victories, if we can get a couple holds, that's really what it's going to take. And now that Louisville's out of the way, West Virginia's out of the way, there's not too many areas that we're really going to lose quickly. Virginia's solid. We're good there. But yeah, this is a game from 1991. All right. How'd I do? No unsupply, but 24,000 forces were lost to disease and desertion. You kind of see maybe a third of the recruits lost to disease and desertion each turn. So, got to keep moving them forward. All right. Eastern border is our largest army. Northern Virginia. Defend. No. Let's see here. All right, so that's 1. 2 is Johnson. And I think that's going to be Central. Yeah, Memphis. Defend. Nope. All right. Gulf Coast. Jackson is number 3. Move. To Little Rock. Come on. You got to move to Little Rock. Issue order. All generals. Number 3. Joseph E. Johnston. Okay. New region. back to Central. Chattanooga, defend. Yes. All generals. We're looking at Leonidas Polk. New region, Tidewater. Savannah, move to Jacksonville. All issue order. Kirby Smith. Okay. Western border. What do you got? Yeah, I'm gonna move St. Louis. I'm gonna try it. Fog of War is on. 6 is Robert E. Lee. 7 is Forrest. 8 is Jackson. 9 is cancel. I don't want to risk a general in that regard. Gulf. Let's go Mobile. Move. No, I'm not moving. We're defend. Robert E. Lee. Sign. New Orleans. Defend. 7. Forced. New region. Eastern border. Actually, 7. All right. Yeah, that's going to be fine. I think that's all we need to do. End phase. Let's see what happens. I bet he's going after Chattanooga. I hope he attacks in Virginia. That's going to be a huge, huge battle. And I really finally hope that we can advance in the Gulf Coast and the Tidewater. Moving up. Okay. Defend New Orleans. Defend Mobile. He's attacking Savannah. And they're moving 16,000. All right. Can't move. It's actually a great move for us. 2,000 rebels. All right. So the armies, we've got 18,000 troops under E.K. Smith with 1 experience. He's got 10,000 with 5 experience. So continue. We won. 2,000 casualties on both sides. That is good. That is a good result. He's moving into Northern Virginia. 50,000. Is that 160,000? Oh, Lord. Defend. The armies. Okay, and in Norfolk. He's invading with 20,000 troops in Norfolk? Oh, Lord. Continue. All right. It's early 1862. He's got way too many troops. If he's... I'm curious. Is this actually going to be... What's 168,000 troops. Yeah. But there's nothing I would ever have to compete with 168,000 troops at this point in the game. Defend. And he still can't move. So, yeah. This game went from bad to worse. 168,000. We're going from Norfolk to Wilmington. And then, of course, from Northern Virginia to Richmond. So leaves us with 40,000 troops. We've lost. Huh. Yeah. Military. 180. Nope, we're not moving you guys. Okay, so it's mid 1862. They've got Norfolk, Northern Virginia, all of Florida, Little Rock, which actually isn't necessarily that ahead of schedule. They would have already had Pensacola by this point. They would have New Orleans, Norfolk, in a little bit. Northern Virginia would be hit or miss. You would have Lee with the not the Overland Campaign, but the Peninsula Campaign, rising to prominency, retaking Norfolk. So this is, I mean, kind of historical-ish. I'm going to leave civil affairs where they were. I just don't know. Yeah, I mean, we have 3 loyalty and Gulf Coast and Tidewater. 3 loyalty in the east border. 1 loyalty in the central. 0 in the western border. We have more loyalty in the northwest than we do in the deep south. Yeah, I should have. No, we're not moving the government. Yes, I need taxes. Tax revenue, please. Moderate taxes approved. Not that it really did much. He's actually bringing down yields. All right. We got 18 supplies through. All right, so we're going to have 248,000 troops. How many we can have? Not enough supplies. Change the infrastructure. Yep, setting the policy. Greensboro, Chattanooga, they're the only 2 that we couldn't recruit in. That's fine. Rail capacity increases by 20. Pensacola looks like it's the only place he couldn't recruit in. You got troops in Jacksonville? I'm not quitting yet. But yeah, he's showing 316,000 troops in Northern Virginia, 41,000 in Norfolk. And I've got a total of 62,000 in the area. And with Florida gone, I've got to keep most of these troops in place. I mean, whoop. All right, we're going after Jax. We're moving to Savannah. All these troops. Supplies. We do need the extra supply. All right. And then Atlanta, rail to Savannah. 4,000 troops. Okay. And then Columbia, we're railing to Greensboro. Our 8,000 supply. Charleston, rail to Wilmington. Our 8,000 supply. Greensboro, rail to Richmond. Boom, And yep, we're going to need all the supply we can get. Wilmington, rail, also to Richmond. All but 14,000. So, all right, we need 8,000 more supply. Gulf Coast. Let's see what we can do. All right, New Orleans, I'm railing troops to Jackson. Ready. Shreveport, rail to Jackson. Ready. Decatur, rail to, let's say, Chattanooga. Mobile, rail to Jackson also. Actually, we need auto supply there. Ready? All right, Mobile, rail to Atlanta. Go the other way for supply. Decatur River to Chattanooga? Yeah. 10 supply. All right, New Orleans, River, Jackson. All but 6. Shreveport, River, Jackson. Jackson, rail, Corinth. Oh. Nope. Corinth, rail, Jackson. What do we actually need here? 6. All right, and then Corinth, rail to Memphis. Oh, there we go. Okay. We got that squared. Tidewater. Hold up. I need to do math. 48 troops in Richmond. I need 8. Tidewater. Select. Atlanta rail to Charleston. 8. Charleston rail. Wilmington. 8. Eastern border. Wilmington rail to Richmond. 8. New region. Central. How bad is it? Okay, Tidewater. Atlanta, I think rail to Chattanooga. Yeah, 4,000 supply. So, and you can switch back and forth here. So, Gulf Coast, 58,000 troops, 58,000 supply. Tidewater, 28,000 troops, 28,000 supply. Eastern border, 62,000, 62,000. We just don't have 30,000 supply for the central border. So this is going to cost us dearly. But we're also showing over 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 1 million Union troops in mid-1862, which we know is wrong. We know it's fog of war. But he did just march 162,000 troops into Northern Virginia. So we know he's got quite a bit. We know he's got quite a bit. Yeah, if he makes another major push, it's over. And we're gonna have to go back and figure out what we did wrong. First thing we did wrong is improperly balancing the political system just a little bit when we started to switch some things around. Gulf Coast, really, I mean, Little Rock, we should have brought troops in from the start. Fort Smith over to Little Rock, because that would have allowed a lot more supply to flow and maintain coastal garrisons. Granted, if he's landing 20,000 troops in a go, not much I can do. I can't leave 20,000 troops in every port. Problem is, when he does that, I don't have, like, let's say he takes Pensacola. Now I've got to defend Mobile, Savannah, and Jacksonville against that threat. Which I guess are all coastal anyway, and I should have been defending all of them anyway. But then how do you build a force in Eastern Virginia or Northern Virginia against 160,000 Union troops? You can't. That's the problem. You just can't. I remember this game being exceedingly difficult. I have, in my life, beaten it once. And I'm sure that there are others that have figured out that perfect strategy to beating it. I am not that person. I'm just showing you what I know. I know that balancing everything and focusing on logistics so that your troops aren't starving to death in the field are the biggest factors. I want to say that there's a way that you can kind of game the system a little bit, maybe. Because, yeah, you can't stand up against 160,000 troops. All right, how bad is it? Tennessee's suffering. 30,000. We got 30. All right, we got the extra supplies. 54,000 men, disease and desertion. And granted, our low morale is causing part of that. A large part of that, probably. All right, we're going to start eastern border. This Richmond, still kind of defend. Yes, we need to remove you because you went to number 10. And now A.S. Johnson's there. All right, new region. Gulf Coast. Yep. Actually, Jackson move to Little Rock. Select all, issue order. Yeah, that needs to be A.S. Johnson. Okay. New, and go back to Eastern. All right, Richmond. Cancel. Defend Joe Johnson. New. Central. Memphis. Move. To Little Rock. All. That should be number 3, which is Polk. And then new region. Tidewater. Savannah, move to Jacksonville. All, issue order. That's going to be Smith. New region. Central. Chattanooga. Defend. Who's 5? Lee. New region. Eastern border. Wilmington. Let's try. Norfolk, issue order all. That's going to be Forest. Okay. New region, western border. Springfield, move to Fort Smith. All. 7, Thomas Jonathan Jackson. I think that should 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we're good. And yes. Let's see how this goes. This will probably be the end of the campaign. I'm probably going to have to seek reconciliation at the end of this. All right. He is attacking. The AI is at work. I mean, he's showing 1 million troops in the field. My generals wouldn't move against him when he had smaller forces. You just need to be really good at defending everything. All right, he's moving to Mobile. He's going to take it. He's also landing 26,000 troops. Yeah. Go on. Halleck becomes his best general. All right, he's moving 20,000 against Savannah. Smith says he can't. Where are the armies this time? All right, we slightly outnumber him. Continue. We won, but we did sustain more casualties than he did. Yeah, we still have less experience. Coastal defense is going down. E.K. Smith went up a little bit. All right, he's attacking Richmond with just 72,000 troops. Battle of Norfolk, no chance. Yep. 4,000 lost. We gave them 0 casualties. Rosencrantz even. Okay. Richmond. Yeah, we are outnumbered by 32,000. We win. Okay. And we inflicted more casualties on them. So 14,000 casualties for us, 20,000 for them. Joe Johnston holding. Of course, we're down to 28,000 troops. That's it. 28,000 troops in the Eastern Theater. All right, he's moving to Memphis. Hold. Chattanooga. 4,000 in Memphis. We lost Memphis. Hopefully that means we get to take Little Rock. Sherman getting better. All right. All right, we're moving on. Fort Smith, we're going to conquer. 46,000, conquer. 24,000. Nope. All right, Little Rock. The armies. They still have more experience, but it's 26,000 against 70. And we're actually showing them at 46,000. So we win. We do take more casualties than them. So there is a bias to the defense. Okay. And Fort Smith we just take. So Arkansas is actually 100% back in our command, under our control. Things could have gone worse. We lost Mobile. There's not really any Jackson. From Savannah, he's retreating to Pensacola. Norfolk, we're going to retreat to Richmond. Put some more troops in Richmond. He's retreating, to Norfolk. From Memphis to Corinth. Just 2,000 troops. But we've got the riverine transport, so we can move supplies a little bit more efficiently now. All right, he lost a loyalty. I gained a loyalty. Okay, Schoen still very sympathetic to our cause. And I think you see, if we had maybe left troops in the port cities and covered the border, that first turn, we would have done a lot better. Let's see. I'm going to switch Yancey. Well, what do I need to do? Breckenridge, maybe? Let's see. Yes, I'm going to revise that. I can't. End phase. Yep. Actually, hold up. Yeah, set policy. Reconciliation. No, I'm not. Moderates applaud. Continue uninvolved. Continue uninvolved. Peace negotiations have reached a settlement based on reconciliation. The Union has been preserved. So yeah, even as the South, you can. That's kind of the way of ending the game. Is agreeing with the Union. Okay, continue, and the game's over. And the whole thing closes. Thanks for watching. I enjoyed this. I'm going to I'm going to try and do something like this again. You know, in the future. But yeah, this is a hard game. I might here. Let me blow myself up. I'll try and read up, see what I did differently in the past.